Hey guys, welcome back to #AskBRP. This is episode number 18. My name is Seth, and this week we're going to talk about why it is advantageous to get a loan from a pawn shop rather than a bank. So the other day I was talking to a couple people about what I do for a living, that I'm a pawnbroker, etc. I was explaining to them like how the business works and that our main focus is loans. And it's just general stuff like that. And one of the guys I was talking to asked, why would people go to a pawn shop when they could just go to a bank and get a loan? He had kind of a weird inflection in his voice to say it doesn't make any sense. He just didn't understand it at all. Why would someone pay 5, 10, 20% interest a month at a pawn shop, and when banks are lending 3, 4, 5% a year for a mortgage? He just didn't really understand. So I started to explain to him some of the reasons why someone might pick a pawn shop over a bank, and while I was explaining it, made me think there's probably a lot of people who also don't understand why someone would come to a pawn shop. So they probably think people who come to a pawn shop are super desperate and they have nowhere else to turn, and sometimes that is true, but that's definitely not always the case. So before I explain why a pawn shop might be better than a bank, let's recap last week. So last week I explained to you guys why buying a pre-owned engagement ring might be a better option than buying a brand new one. The price is obviously much less at a pawn shop than it is for the same ring at a jewelry store, especially when you buy new. Plus, all diamonds are technically pre-owned, as they've been forming in the earth for millions of years and are sort of recycled from ring to ring. If you want to learn more about pre-owned engagement rings and why you should buy them over a new one, just search episode 17, #AskBRP on YouTube, or you can visit our site, bocaratonpawn.com/AskBRP, and see all the videos over there. Now, on to this week. So I think there are 3 reasons why getting a loan at a pawn shop is better than getting a loan at a bank. The first reason is speed. When you're in a bind and you need cash super quickly, a pawn shop is definitely the better of the 2 options. Getting a loan at a pawn shop can literally take 5 minutes. It doesn't have to take any longer than that. Just have to fill out some paperwork, sign, and you get your cash. You go into a bank, you'll be lucky to get out the same day with a loan, let alone the same week. Could take a month, could take a couple months. And you might say, okay, well, how are you going to let yourself get that far down in your finances that you need cash within 5 minutes? To that I say you never know, what life might throw at you. And plus, you might have money tied up in investments, tied up somewhere else, and you have an opportunity to buy something else, and you need money quickly. The second reason someone might choose a pawn shop over a bank to get a loan is loans at pawn shops are under the radar. And what I mean by that is we don't check your credit. A loan doesn't hurt your credit report if you default, and they're discreet. When you walk into a pawn shop, especially ours, a high-end pawn shop, we have private offices. No one has to actually know that you're getting a loan. And when you come to a pawn shop, you don't have to have good credit to get a loan. You might not be able to get a loan at a bank, so you come to a pawn shop because we don't check your credit. We don't go into your history. We just want to make sure that the collateral you have is worth what we're going to lend you. And some people also just don't want all of their moves recorded. They might need a loan just for a couple days, and they don't want to put it in a system and have it hurt their credit. So they want to come to a pawn shop and get cash. Definitely understandable, and getting a loan from a pawn shop in that respect is definitely better than going to a bank. So the last reason why getting a loan at a pawn shop might be better, a better option than getting a loan at a bank, might surprise you a little bit. It's not as expensive to get a loan at a pawn shop as you might think. And I say as because, yes, it's still expensive, it's fast, we don't check your credit, but it's not as bad as you may have previously thought. Since there are so many pawn shops around these days because of the economy and just because of the TV show made it a little bit less dingy and people are more willing to go to a pawn shop, there's one on every corner, and this creates a huge amount of competition between pawn shops. And this is great for the consumer. In the state of Florida, you can legally charge 25% every 30 days on a pawn loan, which is a huge number, right? But if I actually tried to charge that kind of interest, I'd have no business. There's so much competition, and consumers are so smart these days that they're not going to go to you if you're charging 25%. In fact, we've run promotions for very, very low interest rates. We've even run promotions for 0% interest. So before you decide that pawn loan isn't for you, consider the pros and cons, and you might be surprised that you can actually find a great deal on a loan at a pawn shop. Thank you guys for watching episode number 18. Now you should have a better idea of why someone might choose a pawn store over a traditional lender or a bank. Follow the store on Facebook at facebook.com/Boca Pawn Shop. Also, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Boca Raton Pawn. And check out all the episodes, bocaratonpawn.com/AskBRP. Thanks again for watching, and have a good week.